time for Samuel's story, our fifth Rogers child, Samuel Pearson Rogers. So Rosemary was a few months old, and we were just reveling in the fact that God had given us four beautiful, healthy daughters. We were so thankful. From the other stories I've told you, we understood that this was huge. This was such a blessing. But a friend of mine seemed to just know my heart, and she said, don't you kind of wish for a boy? Do you kind of wish you had a son? And I said, yeah, I do. But I mean, I don't want to ask God for something more. I mean, God has blessed us. I felt presumptuous at that point in my life asking God for anything, because just the breath, the fact that he allowed me to live was like more than I deserved. And then to give us four beautiful girls, I hated to ask God for things. I don't know, I felt like I was bothering him. So my prayers at first went kind of like this: God, you've been really, really, really good to me, so much better than I deserve. And I know that I really shouldn't be asking for more, but I would really love a son. But if you don't want to give me that, that's okay, because you've been so good. But thank you. I would love a son. Bye. It was kind of like that. So I approached God that way for a few months, and then I found out that I was pregnant. I guess Rosemary was not quite a year old. And I will say, you can continue breastfeeding while you're pregnant. I did until she turned a year, which was wonderful. Anyway, when we went to the first ultrasound, the lady said, well, what do you have at home? And we said, we have four girls. And she said, oh, I bet this is twin boys. And we just laughed, but she put the ultrasound on my belly, and immediately there were two babies. So, but we could tell that one of them was formed really well and was measuring right and had a heartbeat. One of them had ceased to continue, like he didn't have a heartbeat, and he was not the right size. So she said, I think you're going to lose the one twin, but you have one that looks really good. We were like, okay, shocked, like didn't expect twins. But the fact that she had said it's probably twin boys, and then it was twins, and then I had asked God for a boy, I just knew. I was like, this baby is a boy. It was sad to lose the other twin. It really was. I didn't really bleed or anything. They say that early your body can just maybe absorb the other twin, and I guess that's what happened. But we continued to have a great pregnancy, and they confirmed, yes, it's a boy. And I don't know, when I found out that God had answered my prayer for a son, I was just over the moon. It was like, what? He heard me, and he is giving me what I asked for. I mean, I knew he was a good God. I just knew that he really should not be good to me. There was no reason for him to be good to me. So it was just shocking, you know. So once I had that prayer answered, I decided to get really bold, okay, with my prayers. I said, okay, God, while I've got you on the line, while I'm already asking you, can you also make him like bigger than my other babies? I had like 6.5 pound babies. I want a big baby, and I want to have a natural birth. Up until then, I had epidurals, but I really wanted the experience of natural birth. And so, okay, big baby, natural birth, and I want him to look like me and have brown eyes. My other babies had looked like their dad. And so I just thought, while I'm laying out my request, I'm just going to ask for everything. I'm just going to go for the jackpot. Well, let me tell you, God delights in giving us the desires of our hearts. I had the most beautiful natural birth. Don't tell anybody. It's still my favorite birth of all time. I think because it was my first natural. Such a different night and day experience from epidural birth. We can talk about that on a different podcast or some other video. But wow, I mean, I just fell in love with natural childbirth. It was amazing. It was so great. I never wanted to go back to the epidural again for reasons we could, like I say, we could talk about all day. But he came out. Okay, my biggest baby up until then was like 6 pounds and 14 ounces. He was almost 8 pounds. He was like 7'12". He had fat rolls. I mean, and he had these big brown eyes, and he looked just like me. And I was just tickled. I was like, wow, God is so, so good. And so what I really learned from Samuel was that God delights to answer our prayers. He really loves to give good things to his children. So Samuel's name, of course, Samuel is from Hannah, how she prayed for a son, and God gave her a son. For this child I prayed, and the Lord and the Lord gave me what I asked for him. And then Pearson, it's so fun because that's my maiden name, and we decided before we knew what he was going to look like that his middle name would be Pearson, and he's such a Pearson. I mean, God knew that. He's Samuel Pearson Rogers. Later, we would have a boy named Silas Keith, named after Brian's dad, and he's such a Rogers. He looks just like Brian. So it's just fun. It's just so neat. And I just fell more and more in love with mothering. That experience, I decided, well, hey, natural childbirth is great. Let's just do the natural thing. Started cloth diapering and hanging the cloth diapers out on the line, and baking my own bread. I made kombucha and kefir and sprouted everything. It was just such a fun time that God gave to me because he knew, like, these are some neat things that Julie wants to explore. And what's fun about being a stay-at-home mom is that you get to try those things. You go, hey, I want to try to make my own bread. Okay, I want to try cloth diapering this go around with this baby. I want to try natural birth. Let's see how baby wearing goes or breastfeeding. And it's like this constant adventure that the Lord is just so good to let us enjoy and try and see what works and see what doesn't work. It's okay if you don't hang on to all those things. I don't still make kombucha all the time sometimes, but you don't have to do all the things. But God loves for us to enjoy life. And I think that Samuel Pearson's birth really showed me that God delights in the details. So next time I'll tell you about Bethany Miriam Brave. She has quite a story from the womb as well, kind of like Penelope's. So I look forward to telling you that. Have a good day.